to Back from the Brink Games. I'm Scott. This is Josh.
What's up?
This is our second podcast we're recording, but the first one anyone will ever hear.
Yeah, no one's ever going to hear that one because there's no sound.
Yeah. We did 5 audio checks, at least, but we're ready to go today.
Yeah, we're competent people. This is fine.
Very professional.
Yeah.
So we're here. We're going to talk about video games and the surrounding culture of maybe. And we got some stuff to talk about. Is there anything that is jumping out to you that you just got to talk about right now?
Like, is there a topic that's so on my mind that I have to bring it up right now? No,
Okay.
I don't have one.
Well, let's start with what we've been playing lately, and I'll let you,
want me to go
first.
All right. So I have 2 games that I'm currently kind of switching back and forth between the two. I play currently. I'm back in a little bit of a cycle of Baldur's Gate. I started when Baldur's Gate first came out with one character, and I ran all the way up to Act 3, and then you feel really accomplished at the end of Act 2 because it feels like you're getting close to the end of something, like it's a big accomplishment. And you get to Act 3, and it's just like, oh, hey, this is still really, really big, and there's a lot left to do. And I decided to take a break. And that is not a good way to finish a game because you really rarely go back, right? So
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why we don't go back. But
yeah,
I agree. I played Baldur's Gate for a while, and I stopped after Act 1. Well, like a little bit into Act 2.
yeah,
And then I turned on the game, and you were hanging out, and you helped me break through the wall of I can't get through these poisonous mushrooms, and then I was back.
it's because I'm willing to Google it.
I just gave up.
I don't feel like a cheater when I go like, let me see how you figure this out. 'Cause
I just gave up.
Yeah, you did.
And I said, and then I went back and I said, I don't even know why I'm trying to get this gnome out of these poisonous mushrooms. And
that is also an option in Baldur's Gate. You could just be like, see ya, I don't want to get you out of
An
there.
option for you, maybe.
Well, if you're not trying to be a perfectionist, but this is the inherent problem I have with Baldur's Gate, is that I can't play through it and just let things happen. It's like there are people who save scum to get around this problem. I'm more of I just end up being the ultimate nice guy, and I can't play a bad guy character because what if,
I'm the same way, at least through a first playthrough. I don't see a second playthrough coming from me in Baldur's Gate, but I will say that I did start Act 3. I really took a break after I finished Act 2, but I started Act 3, and I'm not like super thrilled with how it starts.
Okay.
You're like, all of a sudden you're in town, which I'm into because you haven't been the whole game.
It's the name of the game, and you're not in the town.
Yeah, you are getting there. It's the Fellowship of the Ring. You just walk in. And then... Yeah,
it's very Fellowship of the Rings, yeah.
And then you get there, and like everything that you have done before, you're just walking down the street, and it's like, oh, hey, remember me? Yeah, I need you to do this thing. And it's like, how does every single person I've run into in the last 60 hours of gameplay all on my way down the street?
So you're complaining, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing you're complaining, but you're complaining about member berries in Act 3 from Act 1 and Act 2.
No. I walked in, and I changed my party up. I'm finally rolling with Asterion because I felt like I had to.
Okay.
And
you don't have to, by the way. I can't stand Asterion, but
so I do, and I walk like down the street, and they're the people that were hunting him, and I won, and now they're cool with him. They just want him to break in and do some stuff. I'll just leave.
Don't spoil it.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, well that was convenient, and then I walked down, and it's one of those things where I just like, I'm just gonna go over here because I can, and I walk in, and then there's the gnome from Act 2 who I saved in the Underdark, and I was like, that's random. Like I just walked in this, and I guess that's a good thing.
I think that's how it's.
To me, it was just like, I get it, but it's like it's a little heavy-handed.
Okay.
It's like every person that you saw is just right there. Anyways, sorry, but so I'm not. I feel like I was really negative about that.
You're very negative. Tell me about how you don't like Baldur's Gate.
I like Baldur's Gate. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, so I started new characters, but my heart's not in it on a whole new run through because I don't have the discipline to remind myself that I'm role playing and I can be mean. Like, there's all these choices about like, do you help the tieflings? Do you do these things? And I'm like, I guess I'll help them because I'm just such a nice guy. And if I really wanted a different experience to like diversify my experience in the game, I would be like super evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I have an example at the beginning of Act 3 because I'm super good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk down the hill, and the first house you get to, there are squatters in the house, refugees.
Yep, I remember it.
And there's a guy who owns the house, who's an ass.
Oh, he's
but
an A-H.
But it's his house.
Yeah.
And these people just moved in his house.
Yep.
And to be a good guy, you're obviously supposed to side with the refugees who took over somebody's house. And
it depends on if you believe in trickle-down economics or not.
well, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is the dude's house, and you're just living in it.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be some sort of compromise here, but there's not. You either side on the refugees or you side on the jerk who owns the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't think that it's right that these people are just staying in this house, but I'm the ultimate good guy, so I sided with them. And they're like, thanks a lot for that. And then I had to convince their bodyguards of the other guy that I could beat him up, and then they went away.
I killed everyone. Not.
Oh, really?
No, I mean the landlord and his bodyguards just attacked me when I was like tried to defend the.
Oh no! I talked them out. I said, "Do you really want to mess with me? I just killed this other guy," and they were like, "Oh, okay. Well, see you later," and they walked away.
I
talk a lot.
Maybe I should adjust my "I'm the ultimate good guy" statement because
you just murder.
I do tend to just like. Here's the thing. Maybe I should go look this up. I don't know. Is there a way to get through the goblin camp without just killing all the goblins? Because every time I do anything, they just all come after me, and I just get rid of them all. I don't think we can say a lot of this on YouTube and not get demonetized because we are here to make money, folks.
Yeah, we're definitely not.
How many of the in the goblin camp I unalived them all?
I don't think I did.
Okay.
Because I met some later. Anyways, we're going really in.
Yeah, we've gone really in. That's
Baldur's Gate.
First topic.
Still enjoying it. Are you still playing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I still enjoy it. I still play it when I get.
I took a break again.
Yeah.
I'll get back into it. I don't think I'm going to do another playthrough, but maybe someday. What else have you been playing?
So I play kind of as like there's like Baldur's Gate feels like I have to turn my brain on, and to turn my brain off, I like to play the new college football game from EA, College Football 25. I was a big fan of that series up until they stopped making it in like 2014. This is, you probably know where I'm going with this, but the game is too hard. It is not fun. They made it too real. Maybe this is a thing, like people who played Madden between 2014 and now, like know what they're doing, but it took me like 20 hours of gameplay to not be awful at that game and like throw an interception every time I touch the ball.
And that's is that on the regular difficulty?
Well, I started up. There's like Heisman difficulty and All-American and whatever. I started like at All-American, it's like second from the top, thinking I'm going to notch it back from Heisman because I played on the old game. Basically, I kept going down until I won games and I got like to rookie, and I was like, okay, this is like kind of okay. And then I've been slowly putting it back since I've kind of gained experience. But like there's like two elements to it. Like it punishes you really badly for making a bad throw. Like the game will, if you make a bad throw, it will punish you. But it also does like computer cheating stuff where like the guy with his head turned just magically throws an arm in the air and intercepts the football. Like it's like there's no way he could have seen that coming. Like it does a lot of that. So it's like magic computer cheating. And then I believe that EA has put like a purposeful system in the game to keep the games tight, to make it more epic. Because like if you're winning and like there's 5 seconds left, something incredible and unfathomable will happen to make you lose. You have to, it's anyway.
The blue shell.
The blue shells are all over that game. It's no fun. That's all I'm saying. So don't worry about it.
Okay.
Unless you're like a hardcore football fan, I wouldn't play it because it's just no fun.
Yeah. Well, I am probably not going to play it.
Yeah, I think.
I don't play a lot of the sports games. So I was digging through some old game stuff this weekend with my son, and the Dreamcast popped out along with NFL 2K1.
Ooh, yeah.
And I was reminded back when we were in college, I think, is when EA got the NFL license. And that's when they went to one
distributor.
Yeah, making NFL games. And NFL 2K was
superior.
It was great.
Superior in every way to Madden. That's why they had to pay to get an exclusive license.
And it was less expensive.
Yeah, it was a better game.
Yeah, and I was thinking this is like, there are other games like UFL games and XFL and these other games, and then 2K made it all pro football. I think is what it's called. You remember that game?
Nope.
I have it, but it's I used to like the games a lot, but all pro football, and it had like John Elway on the cover along with like I don't know, like Troy Aikman and not John Madden wasn't on there, but he wasn't an all pro football player.
Not at that time.
So, but it was like the legends who played, but you had to create your own team. So it was all like you just built your team and you and designed the costumes, uniform.
Yeah. Listen,
it's a costume.
It is a costume, and once they didn't have the license,
but that was the last one they made.
Sure.
And then
they probably only made that one because
away.
they already had like 90% of it done, and they just had to remove the IP and
You're probably
you
right.
can create that, because they wouldn't spend money to create that because everybody's going to look at it and go, this is not have the teams I like or care about.
And that's the thing, you'd have to make them, and it wasn't good. It wasn't that great. But anyways,
so there's the new EA college football has a create a team thing that's like really apparently easy to make, like all kinds of different teams that people want.
Okay, the new college game?
Yeah, you could totally design your own everything.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why people do that though.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I've been playing. Anything else you've been playing?
Nope, those two are pretty much what I've been playing lately.
Okay.
I've
been dabbling in a lot of stuff as I've taken a break from Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. You are a dabbler.
I do dabble.
Yeah.
A little too much.
Yeah.
And I'll dip my toes in games here and there. Not for long, sometimes. For sure. So Riders Republic just dropped on Game Pass, and I like to check out the Game Pass games. I like to see, games I haven't played, and Riders Republic did not grab me at all. And it's an Ubisoft game.
Okay. It's not like Writers Republic.
It's so you play a screenwriter, and you're up and coming.
I couldn't.
So Riders Republic is like, so it's biking, I think skateboarding's in there, snowboarding, skiing, and then you can do air jetpacks, and it's an open world game, a super cool concept. You can switch off at any time. So did you ever play Steep?
I did not.
So Steep is like a predecessor where it was snow sports, so you could snowboard and ski, and you could parachute. And I really like Steep. This kind of reminded me of like a Forza Horizon, but for extreme sports. Man, it took forever for me to be able to actually play the game. I'm sitting there and they just kept going through all these clips. I was like, I just like let me have control of the game. And then once I did, I was like, okay, I don't think I like this very much. So I did like the biking, and I don't know, I just wasn't into it at the time. So I barely played any of that. And then I played some of Mud Runner's game, Expeditions. It just dropped on Game Pass 2. I was actually kind of excited for that. I really like Snow Runner. Expeditions did not hit it for me. I got like 2 missions in, and it sent me on things that I didn't find fun. I was really disappointed. I like Snow Runner. They're difficult games, but they're like pseudo simulation, off-road, mudding, trucking type game.
Like Ice Road Trucker.
It's like Ice Road Trucker.
The video game.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Exactly like it, but not as fun. It didn't hit for me.
Yeah.
Now, okay, and so then I downloaded Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
Okay. Yep. Otherwise known as Space Marines 2.
Yeah, Space Marine 2. I don't think it's
There's
plural.
not more than one?
There are more than one, but
Plural?
this is a singular name
Okay.
of the game. So
I buy it.
I don't really have any knowledge of Warhammer lore.
Yeah, me neither.
I've
I skipped
painted
that.
some figurines once for fun,
Nerd.
but
Okay.
yeah,
No, it's I know about that.
It was yeah. I don't know why.
I know of that.
I did it briefly.
Yeah, it's cool.
It was actually fun. I did enjoy painting them, and I enjoyed the game a lot too. And we talked about that a little bit later. Other than that, we talked about the Baldur's Gate. Been playing, and I also popped into Dragon's Dogma 2 again. That's a fun game.
Okay.
It's a fun game, action RPG, and but nothing. I'm gonna get into Space Marine 2.
Yeah, let's get into it.
We can just get into it right now.
Let's get into it.
So Space Marine 2, I beat it last night. Late last night. The campaign. I haven't played too much of the multiplayer. I haven't played any of the multiplayer. I've just kind of looked at it. Hopefully get into that maybe next weekend.
Okay.
With some buddies who are also getting the game but haven't got it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, it's a really fun game.
Yeah.
It's pull up some stuff here. So Warhammer by Focus Entertainment. I like Focus as a production company. They got some pretty good stuff. But I never played Space Marine 1.
Okay.
I don't know, as I said, I don't really know any of the lore. But I know what's fun, and this game is really fun. Here's a screenshot I took because I was like, man, this game, a lot's going on.
It seems like a lot is happening, and maybe that's just me being an old man. But lots of times when there's too much happening, I don't know what's happening.
But you know what's happening most of the time in this game, and I knew it was happening enough to like be able to pause it and be like, "This is so cool looking."
Right, it is cool looking. And
so, this is like some god from another dimension, I guess. I don't really know. He's not even the main bad guy, and like you have all this stuff going on the screen. It does chug some.
Oh, on an Xbox or PlayStation? Would you play it on?
I played it on the Series X.
Okay.
It for the first part of the game, like it was running unbelievably smoothly for how much is going on screen, how many enemies there are on screen at a time. And then probably about like halfway through, I noticed my first huge dip in frames, and I was like, oh, that's pretty bad, but I didn't really care because it didn't affect my enjoyment of it.
Okay.
The performance wasn't like super good after that. There were a lot of times where frames would drop at certain times, but overall, like it was pretty good. And honestly, when it happened, I was like, yeah, I get it. You know,
Lots happening here.
See if I wanted that video to come through. Here, this might be a video.
I think that's a video.
So this is a video I took. Horrible quality. But it'll give you an idea of like, oh, here we go. It's
I know Donkey already has a video alluding to this, but this is Gears of War, right?
So when you look at it, and at first it was like, oh yeah, man, this is just like a Gears of War like, but it's much the gameplay has similarities because it's a third person, you big marine guy. But they're like, this is holding back this huge swarm, and you're getting in just in time,
if you will.
That's StarCraft, I think.
Oh, I know it is. I'm just saying. I don't know the Warhammer lore either.
Anyways, at first, like, if you want to be like kind of crude about it, you'd be like, okay, this is just like a screenshot, and it's like, I wish I could get a 360 because there's tanks over here rolling down, shooting. These are all individual creatures. There's a whole swarm of like probably 50 things running at me right now, and you're just wading through it, and it has that sense of just making you feel like a badass. And the gameplay is tight. Like, the shooting is really good.
So it sounds really fun. Not depth of story or anything, but fun.
The depth of story, I'll get to that. And there's a story for sure. I'm sure if you're in the lore, you're like, it's really cool. But the gameplay, like, and that's why I played it, because the moment-to-moment gameplay was fun. It was engaging. The game was probably about 9 hours for the campaign, which to me is a real sweet spot.
That's a good amount.
Especially for something like this. Any longer, and I would have lost interest in the gameplay. It does start to get a little repetitive at the end, but they do mix in some new enemies. But that being said, you could, when I first started playing, I said, well, is it Gears of War and Doom? Like, but I think it has enough individuality to be different than that. There's some components of things like the new Doom and Doom Eternal where you will start to finish off enemy, and they'll start blinking red, and then you hit the finisher button, and you finish them, and what health you've lost recently, you'll gain back. So it's kind of like Bloodborne, which I know you never played Bloodborne, but when you got hit, you would lose, and then if you didn't gain that back by hitting things, then you would lose your bar. So it kind of has aspects of a lot of different games, but it has melee combat, and how smoothly you would shift from melee combat to like aiming and shooting at somebody, where there were times that there'll be an indicator to let you know they're about to do a thing that you can block. And so you can hit your parry button. And then there's an indicator, an unblockable attack that you had to dodge. So there are these other, like, almost like stuff from God of War, but the little creature would do a blockable attack where it lunges at you, and you hit the block at the right time, the parry, you just like grab them with one hand, just take your sword, and like every time I did it, I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. And then, or you would block one back and they'd fall back, and then they get a little crosshair on them, and then if you hit the trigger button, then you just like stop and just like, and so every aspect of it just makes you feel like a badass.
I think you're hitting on something here. It's a style of fun in games that just makes you feel like a badass.
It's a power fantasy in that sense, but because the gameplay is so fluid and the controls feel so good, there's not a lot of times when I'm playing a game like a shooter and you line up shots and I'm like, man, it just feels right. Like it's so smooth. Like I can be sitting here and there can be a guy off shooting me over here, and I can turn and like line him up super easy. And I had so many moments in the game where I just like, I wanted to record a clip, and I didn't like save these clips thinking like, oh, we're going to use them on the podcast. I was just like, I gotta save this. This is cool looking.
Right.
And I enjoyed it. Story-wise, I don't know.
I mean, if you're not into the lore, I don't think there's going to be something.
It's pretty straightforward. I didn't play the first game. There's kind of a twist in the middle. It has a little bit of a Jedi Survivor-ish feel in the middle. I'll kind of leave it there.
Yeah.
And then, but I think that the story was interesting enough to where I was enjoying it. There's some really big moments. Another cool thing that I liked is like, so your main character, you'd be like talking to your commander and be like, we need to do this thing, but we also need to do this thing. And so he's like, well, I can give you 2 teams. And he's like, okay, well, we're going to go do this thing, but you need to take this ship and ram it into another thing to give us the moment to do what we need to do. And so...
So do you have to play both teams, or do you get just do one team and somebody does something else?
So through the campaign, you play one side of it. This character, who is Titus, and he goes through, and then so during this mission, then you see the ship come down, like massive, through this explosions. I mean, all these set pieces are as epic as like Gears of War stuff, in my opinion. And so you don't play that in the campaign, but there's a whole co-op suite of missions where you do that. And so this really huge event, which looks awesome, like when you're done with the campaign, you can go back and play co-op with your friends and play those missions. Like that was one. And there's another one where it's like, you need to kill this thing so we can get a message to this guy. And we're going to go give the message, but you have to kill this thing that's blocking everything to do it. So that's another mission.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like, to me, it's like such a cool idea.
That is a cool idea.
To have this whole campaign where this other cool stuff is going on that you're talking about and seeing in real time. But if you want to play it, you go back and you play it. And I just thought that was really clever. And then when I finished the game, main campaign, I'm like, okay, I love this because now I love games where you level up and you get perks and you get loadouts and you tinker in the menus all the time. Love those games. But I also like games where you just
blow things up.
You just shoot and you move through the game. And this, I was like, yeah, there's none of that. And then I finished the game and I looked at the co-op and then multiplayer. And I'm like, oh, that all is there.
It's all there in the other mode.
Yeah, so there's classes, there's loadouts, there's unlocking guns, there's unlocking perks, there's customization in the multiplayer part.
So it's a fully fleshed out multiplayer.
It is, from what I can tell, I haven't really done a lot of multiplayer, but from what I can tell, so I can't comment on the gameplay for it, I can't comment on the balance, but I can tell you it looks fully fleshed out as in the options and what you can, and just the co-op. I mean, it's got to be significant. And I was like, man, this is so crazy. And I was like, this is how games used to be. There used to be a campaign, and there used to be a full multiplayer suite.
You used to not be able to get away with doing
just a multiplayer. Or just a single player.
Yeah. And
this game, and now I haven't read a lot of reviews on this game. I haven't watched any videos. I didn't watch the Donkey video yet because I didn't want to before we talked about it.
Me neither.
But what I have seen snippets of is like, oh, this is a really like 360 era shooter. And it is. Like, it looks way better. It performs great. The controls are modernized. There's other modern things here and there. But the feeling you get when you play it, the pacing of it, very 360 era. The idea that you get this full single player, you get this full multiplayer, and then like I beat the single player, I'm like, man, I just kind of want to jump into the multiplayer now and just like I can play this game for a while. I mean, it was really fun. I was telling my friend was downloading the game. He was like, "Oh, you want to play later?" I'm like, "I'm gonna beat the game tonight." He's like, "Are you really gonna want to play after you're done?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
cool.
Let's do it."
It's rare for kind of the like story based game to be like, I want to go back and do more.
Yeah, because a lot of times I'll be like, "I'm done. See you later. You guys have fun." But I really liked the game. I was really impressed. I was surprised how much I liked it. But I've kind of been in that mode. Like, man, I don't want to play another 100-hour RPG right now. I don't want to get into something that I just like, if I stop, I'm totally lost on how to even play the game.
Yeah.
And this, like 9 hours-ish, 8-9 hours, few nights, I just, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like my son went to bed and I was like, I played, went to bed and I did that, and I was just like, every night I was like, man. And I finished last night, and I was like, that was good. And at the end, it's that's not a spoiler. I'll just say, I didn't play Space Marine 1.
Yeah.
So at the end, there's like a moment that I'm just like, I bet that was really important.
But I had to know something for that.
Yeah, I bet this was something pretty cool. But
Yeah.
so I would give this a high score. I didn't play multiplayer, so I'm not like gonna put a score on it. But man, I think
Good stuff.
people should play it. It's really good.
That's a Scott recommendation, which is rare these days. I gotta tell you, he doesn't recommend a game just for no reason.
Yeah, this one's good. I enjoyed my time with it while I was playing it, and you can play the campaign co-op. And I was like, man, I really wish I was, because there were such moments in the game that I was laughing at how cool it was. Like, I was like doing stuff, and I was just like, oh man, that was cool. And I was like saying it out loud.
Like divergent path scenario thing would make a really cool co-op moment where you like could do half the level together, and then it's like you have to go crash your ship, and I have to go
do
do
that
something.
in Gears games.
Yeah, where it's like,
well, not like that
co-op, that where you
Not
like
like
go
that.
different directions, and you
it
meet back in
wasn't.
the
It
middle.
would split, and you go high ground, low ground, right?
Yeah.
And then you come back together. But this was like, you were like playing this level, and then in the atmosphere, this giant ship comes down.
Which the timing wouldn't necessarily always be perfect.
Yeah,
if
there
there
was
was
very
two-
set piece.
Yeah,
It was
because
very.
that's
You get to a point and just be like,
I gotta wait on you. It's like it reminds me of playing. Was it? There's a game we played once where I had a little cousin that started playing, and we were trying to sneak.
oh,
And
yeah, what was that game?
it was a multiplayer
Was
game.
that Ghost Recon?
Wildlands.
Wildlands.
Yeah, we were trying to be sneaky and just
Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins did. Yeah. Again, it's like co-op games. There's probably a reason why they don't have divergent things where they have to time back up to come back together. But maybe, if you put a game on rails enough, that would totally work.
The other thing is the memory it would take to run those two instances like that would be pretty hard, I think.
Maybe. I bet there's clever ways to put it on.
not a game developer.
There's clever ways probably to put it on rails and say like, you're on path A, you're on path B, and only like the whole rest of the mission could be not on rails, but there's like a portion where you jump on a train car and somebody else does something else, and like that part's on rails. They come back together at the exact same time, kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's
and
doable.
Gears of War really did a pretty good job of that. I mean, it didn't do like to the extreme of what you would do in this game.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that would be possible. But like what you're talking about, and they did a pretty good job. Of course, I can only remember like 3 times they do that, and every time they did that, I always found it kind of annoying when I was playing the game.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
All right. So
it's only as annoying as the person you're co-oping with and how bad they are at video games, right? If they're terrible, then it could be annoying.
I play with people who aren't great sometimes.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Not you.
I'm one of them.
Yeah. No. No. I I play with a couple guys and we have a lot of fun. But
all right.
Sorry, Joe and Thane.
Called out.
No,
it's called called out.
Thane is downloading the game, and we play like Destiny together, and we play a lot of games together. They play a lot of games without me. They did the Destiny Vaulted Glass without me, and they'll always tell me how it was the greatest gaming experience they've ever had in their life, and they left me out of it. So it's just, I don't care if I hurt their feelings a little bit.
Yep.
But this game, I said, is basically playing in every game, Thane picks the big guy with the sword or the hammer who runs in and doesn't care because they can get hit.
The tank.
Yeah, and so I said, so basically this game, Thane, is for you. You just play what you always play. You're gonna like it. Joe always plays he plays Warlock in Destiny, but he always plays like that kind of character, and I always play this stupid sneaky guy, sniper. That's basically what we always roll because I don't know. I don't know. All right, so moving on.
Moving forward.
So the biggest piece of news going on, I think, in the last week was the PlayStation 5 Pro announcement.
So I haven't paid a ton of attention, mostly because I'm not a PlayStation gamer. I mean, I have an Xbox.
You don't
I'm a
you don't
PC
have a
guy.
PlayStation.
I'm a PC guy.
So you don't have a PlayStation. are you gonna buy the PS5? Well, let's go back for a second. One game that I know you loved
Yeah.
is a PlayStation game. It is on PC.
Spider-Man.
But the sequel isn't.
Yep.
So now that you can play Spider-Man 2, you haven't played it yet.
Nope, I haven't played Spider-Man
For the first time in ultra super 8Ks.
Okay.
Well, 4K 60 maybe.
Yeah, it's not going to be 8K anytime soon.
Well, it's on the box. So are you going to buy a PS5 Pro for the amount of money it is, which is here? Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Professional.
Yep.
So that's not right.
That doesn't
That's the
seem
digital
right.
edition. That's not the Pro.
Yep.
The Pro is $699.99.
It's right here.
Thank you, Joe.
It's that one.
You're the best.
Yeah.
$699.99. Okay, so and that in comparison to the PS5 and the PS5 digital.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of different thoughts here.
PS5 Pro does not have a disc drive.
I don't care
Oh,
about
it doesn't have a vertical stand either.
Nah,
I have a PS5. I don't hate on Sony, but I just want to let you know what it does have.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. Like, there's a couple of different thoughts that I have here. It's like, so, everything in the world has gone up in cost. I kind of expect at some point that the flagship gaming consoles will go up in cost. It's also a thought about like the fact that the consoles have always been and continue to be loss leaders. Like you can barely, I mean, you have to very carefully select parts to build a PC that can perform with a standard PS5, right? And it will cost more than a PS5. Like they're just a good deal, frames per second per dollar, right? They just are a better deal in general than putting a PC together or buying an off-the-shelf PC or whatever. I think that there's that element to where I'm like, I can't be mad at them for charging $700 ostensibly for another next generation bump for a PS5, but that goes with the like knowledge as well that like it's gonna be a while before you need it, right? Because just like other generations, ever since I guess PS4 and the Xbox One, when they named it just Xbox One, they said, hey, we're going to do this console generation thing where it's going to be like incremental improvements in performance. And each time they do that, they bump it up a little bit. But like, when's the last time? I guess the Series, at least on the Microsoft side, I guess the Series X was the last time they drew a line in the sand with some games and said you must have the Series game. Like there's current gen and there's next gen. Or there's
PS5 has, but only a couple.
Yeah, like I'm thinking
know if the Series X has.
So
maybe
the college football game we're talking about, college football 25 or whatever, requires Series S or Series X.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of those two. So if you have an Xbox One X, my brother does. That's why I know, because he wanted to play with me, and it was like, sorry, bro. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's exactly. So this is the first title I knew about that required that. Like there might be like better performance or better graphics or maybe even exclusive content for the other platform, but not, hey, you can't play this game unless you have this platform. It's the first one I knew about. So like until we get there with the PS5 Pro, like, hey bro, you don't need it. If you have a PS5 and it plays all the games you need, don't worry about it. Now I don't know if they're going to do that sooner with this or they're going to like push people to buy the more expensive console, but I doubt they will. I don't
think so, yeah.
I doubt they will. And it goes back to like, sorry to dominate that, but it's like it goes back to like talking about Halo products, right? It's like plenty of people will go buy this because it's the most expensive one they can buy, and they won't really be getting anything for their money other than maybe a little bit higher resolution with more frames. But
I want to go back because you said Halo products, and I was confused. I was like, what about Halo? But
what do you
mean by Halo products?
So Halo product, a perfect example of a Halo product. This is a concept that's been around for a while. In the graphics card market, it's a big deal. So if you take, there's graphics cards that you could buy. There's this wild difference between like an entry level card, which is a couple $100, and something that is top of the line, absolutely tricked out, like The RTX 4090 is right now like the Halo product for Nvidia, right? So that is like, I think like a $12 or $1,300 graphics card. So there's one component in your PC. You have to buy the rest of it, right? That component alone costs a fortune, right? And it's really fast. Like it's way faster than like most everything else, right? But like, what do you need? So I am a bit of an AMD fanboy. Like just with their cards, I like them. I have an 7900 XTX is their highest end graphics card. I have one of those. It's hundreds of dollars cheaper than a 4090. Everything I do with it, which the only thing it's really not as good at is ray tracing, but everything I do with it is it's good enough. I had hundreds of frames per second in all the games I play in 4K. Like it's fine, right? In fact, it's overkill for what I do. Like you'd probably be okay with a $300 like graphics card, and there are plenty of people who should just probably buy right in like a sweet spot of like $200 or $300 graphics card in the current generation or one back.
Oh, so what do you mean by like the halo effect?
Oh, yeah. So let's go back to that. Sorry, the halo effect would mean like, okay, if I have $300 to spend, right, and I look at the competitive market of graphics cards, there are plenty of people that will go look at YouTube videos or articles and be like, what's the fastest video card? They'll see NVIDIA 4090 at $1,200. They don't have enough money for that. But then they go, what's the NVIDIA graphics card I can get for $300? And they'll go look at that, even if it's way slower just because of how the products are stacked than a $300 AMD card or a $300 Intel card, right? They're like, okay, these are what is available at my price point, but they'll go for everybody just recognizes like if you don't have the kind of knowledge about those products, a lot of people will look at it and go, well, NVIDIA is the best. They're at the top of the heap. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy NVIDIA at my price point, which is suboptimal a lot of times, right? If you have a couple $100, I mean, for my Bazite Steam box that I just built, which is how I play games on my couch now, I have a Bluetooth controller to a PC that sits in my TV cabinet that runs all of my Steam games right there, like a Steam Deck would, but in my connected to my TV. That console, I had a really ancient RX 480 in it, which is like several years old and underpowered, and like things like Baldur's Gate and Cyberpunk would like stutter. So I went and spent $250 on a 7650 XT graphics card, a couple $100, and it's overkill for what I need now. Like I run everything super smooth on it. It's great. Like I have no complaints. It's a perfect card for that. And yet it's like half the price of the one or less than half the price of the one I have in my gaming PC. And like I probably never should have bought that more expensive card, but I did. It's a halo effect thing where I buy a more expensive thing. But yeah, the halo effect is all about making a choice based on the top of the stack when it's not relevant to the price point that you're paying for. So,
so do you think that this console from Sony, and they market it already too, this is not for everybody, this is for the very special gamer.
Yeah.
But do you think that this, and I don't know how it's possible, is going to make people buy
a regular
the
PS5?
PS5 more?
Yeah. I think the same thing that happens with NVIDIA will happen here, where there is a faster PlayStation 5. So if there's not a competitive, and there will be eventually a competitive Xbox that's similar, but if there's a period of time where there's not, people will be like, well, PlayStation is better for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It'll generate and create more fanboys of that console, right?
Yeah, I mean, the PS5 is already, they've well outsold the Xbox Series is. Yeah. But the Series S does really well.
Yeah.
And even though the Series X is technically more powerful than the PS5, it's, who cares? Because people want to play those Sony first-party games, which Xbox doesn't have a lot of.
Well, that's ultimately the thing that's kind of annoying as an Xbox-only console gamer is that, like you said, there are games I want to play that I can't because the Spider-Man is the perfect example. Spider-Man 2. Here's the deal. You asked if it would make me go get a PlayStation. No, because we're probably halfway through the wait for it to come out on PC now anyway. So it'll come to Steam eventually, and I'll get it then and I'll play it. I'm just delayed by
Yeah.
however many years.
I really liked Spider-Man, the first one, and Miles Morales
They were great.
a lot.
Yep.
Really enjoyed those games. And I haven't played Spider-Man 2 yet. I mean, there's been a lot out, but nothing has like driven me to be like, oh my gosh, I have to play this game like right now. It looks like more of Spider-Man, which is great.
Yeah.
And but I just decided like I'll just wait till it comes to PC and we can play it at the same time and like have some talk about it. Because I already missed the zeitgeist. I'm not going to be talking about this game with anybody because everybody who's played it is going to play it.
That's true. It'll just be me and you talking about it. Right here.
When it drops on PC, we'll both play it and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. So the price, it is expensive.
Yeah.
$700. I'm not going to buy it. And I would be the guy who would usually buy something like this. I don't care that there's not a disk drive.
Yeah.
I'm never going to use it. The vertical stand actually does bother me a lot. My PS5 is vertical. It's the only place it's going to fit. And the fact that I have to spend like $30 more because I have to put it vertical.
That's a pretty Apple move to go like, oh, by the way, if you want it to go this way,
it's
$30, please.
It's baloney. I think that is really not a great move, not a great look, but I think they could have put a stand in there, a piece of plastic that held it up. So not super.
Can I ask a question? Is it like round on the bottom? Can you not just put it on its side?
Listen, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if this thing. I don't. You don't want. I've got a 4-year-old. He's gonna knock it over. He likes to put stuff on top of my PS5 sometimes.
All right. Good answer. Good answer.
But I'm not gonna get one yet.
I think you probably eventually will.
I might.
Something new, but
I might get one in a year or two.
Is there a game you can't play on the other one is the question, right?
So PS4 Pro. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a PS4 before that. I held off.
Yeah.
And the reason I got a PS4 Pro is not because the PS4 Pro came out. It's because Bloodborne came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to play Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a PS4 Pro.
I haven't owned a PlayStation since PlayStation 3. And I only had a PlayStation 3 because of the Red Ring of Death. My Xbox 360 Red Ringed, and I lived in a new city. You know what the Red Ring is, Scott. You're the most Red Ringer of all Red Rings.
Yeah.
If you don't know, just look it up. I mean, it's...
No, yeah, I know. It's not something that you have to... I think if anyone's watching this, they probably know what it is.
It malfunctioned.
Yeah. I had 4 of them.
Yeah.
And then my Xbox One also out of the box didn't work.
I remember that. I had moved to a new city and I plugged in my Xbox 360 Red Ringed, and there was just like a day there where I was like, should I buy another 360 while I wait, or should I buy something different? So I bought a PlayStation 3 while I waited. I can remember buying a PlayStation 2 in high school. That was fun. That was a fun day, but that was the last time I was enthusiastic about the PlayStation, I think.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to playing Astrobot, which is getting really good reviews.
I did watch that donkey video.
I didn't mention that I was playing Luigi's Mansion.
It was pretty slick. It was pretty slick.
I'm not going to watch it until I play the game.
Yeah.
But and I'll probably play it with my son.
I've already done an inside joke from the video. He keeps going, "This is slick. This is slick."
I like Donkey. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say about PlayStation?
No, I mean,
talking about the PC part that you're mentioning in the expense, I totally agree. This is a high-end electronic. It is doing things that is very expensive to do.
Yeah.
I don't think the cost is necessarily like, I'm not like, oh my God. But that's because I'm looking at for what it is.
Yeah.
Not, I want to buy a console that is inexpensive. Okay, well, you have options that will play games fine. This is pushing what limits are possible for a console right now. And that's fine. It's just not for me right now. But it is for some people, and that's who it's for, those people. I haven't bought a PC, like a real PC. I bought a Steam Deck a couple of years ago, and that was I haven't had a gaming PC in a long time, and like every year I'm like, Josh, this is the year I'm going to build a PC. And
slowly converting him into the PC master race. Real slow. It's real slow, but I'm slowly considering.
Something always happens.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, here are my funds. This is what I'm going to do. And then my dog gets sick and has a $5,000 surgery. When I'm like, well,
yeah,
not this year.
But
that was a few years ago.
We're working real slow on it. One of these days,
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, one of these days I'm just going to show up with
next
a PC
year
at your house and be like,
that's great.
I think that's what you're waiting on. You're waiting for me to upgrade too early one time.
I'm dropping the hints pretty hard.
Here's
next
the thing,
year I should be able to do a PC. I have a monitor now. I have a laptop that you gave me. This is like, what's wrong with me? But the reason I have it is because it's so dang expensive.
Yeah.
I do want that experience, and I do most of my gaming on the couch. So
here's the thing: I think that the Steam Deck is like polished experience, right? It's console like. You can pull it out, turn it on, it updates itself. You download the games right to it. It's awesome. And the thing as a giant PC nerd and a Linux nerd, which is the software that's behind the scenes on Steam Deck, it's all open source, which means it's all made by like volunteers and stuff like that. I mean, it's like there are corporations that contribute to it, like Valve does, but like it's a community project in a lot of the sense, and that's what Bazite, the distribution of the Steam Deck software that I'm running, is. It's a community effort by people that aren't paid in a lot of cases to make this work, and the quality of that is still not ready for like mass consumer to do the Bazite thing where you're custom building a Steam Deck basically, but it's close. And when they get it right, like there's no reason that like companies couldn't start just coming out with like, this is a box you put in, this is a console, treat it like a PS5, treat it like an Xbox, plug it in, put your Steam credentials in, and you've got like you're good to go, like everything works. There's like small rough edges. Mine currently will not wake from sleep off Bluetooth. That's a rough edge, right? So you press the button, it will not come on. You have to go either like wake it with a keyboard or press the thing on the front. That's the rough edge that I have right now.
Yeah, my Steam Deck won't connect. I have to do very special things to get it to connect to my monitor. I don't know how to do it too reliably, but it happens eventually.
Those rough edges, like I could see, honestly, those rough edges are like just easy technical problems ultimately for it. There's an organization that wanted to make a games console for your living room out of the Steam software. Like it's already pretty much ready. Like it's just, engineering problems aren't that hard to fix these things. They'd be pretty easy and you could have that. The bigger challenge would be like, okay, but how do you make money on something like that? Because PlayStation or Sony and Microsoft are making money on games licensing. They're not making money on hardware.
There's
right?
like some rumors that I'm not going to get too much into because I don't know the details, that Microsoft is talking with Valve and Epic regarding their next console. I don't know too much about it, but and I don't know if you remember when the Series X and the PS5 were announced but not out yet. I don't think they were out yet.
Yeah.
And Gabe Newell was on like I don't know, he's being interviewed or something.
Yeah.
He was just straight up like talking about Xbox Series X and how he's like, yeah, it's better. Like there's no, like as far as the strength and everything. And I found that very interesting. But
well, I think then at that point in time, there's no doubt that like Steam hardware couldn't compete back then, like Steam Decks and Steam
no, yeah, and that's not what I mean. But yeah. I think it's more like he was just pretty straightforward about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think where Microsoft or Xbox gaming is now, I don't know what they're gonna do. They've done some weird stuff.
Yeah.
And they're continuing to like.
I don't think so. Microsoft just as an organization, like there's no way, in my opinion, they give up on their software stack.
Yeah.
They're a software company.
They have a walled garden.
And they're going to make hardware, but yeah, that walled garden is what they're going to try to push. So I could see the Xbox services on a Steam Deck as something that could happen.
I don't know why. Like you can get, just because it is
because
Linux.
sure, you
can
play
get-
PC games straight up on it, and you play
Yeah,
Xbox.
I can
PC
stream
games.
my Xbox Game Pass on my Steam Deck.
Yep.
I can download an app so I can stream my PS5,
Yep.
which has to be on, and actually playing the game is just streaming from
Mhm.
that, and which is neat. But I'm like, I don't know that. Why it's just like it basically makes it the PlayStation Portal.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the
Yeah.
Portal? So, which doesn't. I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna speak to.
Yeah.
Because if my PS5's on,
You're in front of your TV. It's a PS5.
usually,
Yeah.
I understand that sometimes, somebody's on the TV and they're watching
Yeah.
Desperate this person of whatever, and you might want to watch something else or play something else. But it never really hit me
Yeah.
in a way that I want to do that. But so PlayStation, we're not going to buy it yet, but maybe someday.
Again,
Okay.
I think people will though. I mean, it's the next. How long has
Oh, yeah,
PS5 been out?
I
You know what mean?
will.
Yeah.
I will. I think. Well, we'll see. Honestly, we'll see what Microsoft, Xbox's answer is, because if they're like, well, in 2 years we're going to deliver something much better for a good price point,
Mm-hmm.
then I might say, well, my PS5 is good enough to play these games, and if I want the best, then I'll see what they have to offer. And I don't know, because they went hard for this last generation, and I mean they've like everybody's, the console war is over. Like,
Yeah.
Phil Spencer said the console war is over, and they lost, and like, but they're going to keep making consoles, so we'll see what they do.
Yeah.
I really don't know, but I'm hoping that it is good.
Yeah, I think the future for me is continued use of Steam
Yeah,
everywhere.
I mean, I'm going to move that way,
Yeah.
and most of the games are going to be there at some point.
I mean, it's all at this point. The technology is good enough. Like if it comes out on Windows, you can play it on Steam for the most part. Like
Yeah.
there's very few that I've run into that's like not possible.
Yeah.
And that's like, I know that that's a big nerd topic, but like there is no understating how incredible a job Valve did at their compatibility layer stuff. I mean, they did, but the community did at the compatibility layer stuff, allowing you to play just all kinds of Windows games on Steam. It's awesome. Anyway,
It is awesome.
yeah.
Do you want to talk about Concord, the game? That now,
Yes, but no.
So you didn't really ever hear about Concord until very recently.
Just once. I've heard just once about it.
on our first podcast
That no one will ever hear.
that no one will ever listen to.
Yep.
Well, they might listen, but they won't hear it.
They won't hear it. Yeah.
When I asked you if you ever heard about it, you said no.
Yeah.
Concord was a game that came out. It's a hero shooter. It peaked at like 700 concurrent players on Steam on day one in the first
Yeah.
24 hours. Shortly after, days after, it was announced that they're going to stop the game. They're going to refund everybody who bought it, and they're going to pull the plug on the servers, and
Yeah.
the game's over. So, what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on the current ability? Like, usually they release a game, it's broken.
Sure, but you can still pay.
You can play it.
Yeah.
You can get refund for it a lot of times.
Sure.
Take it back to GameStop, EB Games, Babbage's.
That's right.
Digitally, you can be in trouble. But
Mm-hmm.
to just not be able to play a game anymore.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, you feel, you're going to get your money back, right? So
Mhm.
they're not necessarily the people who were excited about playing it. That's a little bit disappointing, but it's no big deal. I'd be disappointed more for the people who worked on that game for the amount of time they worked on that game.
Yeah.
They put a lot of effort,
I think 8 years.
into making that, and then just to get the rug pulled. And then you think about like the rug pulled, and not in a way that was it feels like whoever was the distributor could have done everybody a solid and allowed them to reconfigure the game to allow for private servers for users to run their own server, and then just be like, okay, you can still buy it, we're not going to do any more support for it. Here's the server app. Your client apps can connect to it. There might be a technical reason why you can't do that, but it's still very like lame in my opinion that it's like, oh, we have to control the servers, and as soon as it's not financially advantageous for us to continue supporting the servers to support this game, keep them up, we're going to pull the plug, because that's ultimately what it's all about.
Because if you had private servers, then you should be able to continue playing game. Just like if I got on Tribes 2 right now,
correct,
I should be able to find a game.
I'm almost
six
certain.
people
I'm
playing.
almost certain there's 6 people playing Tribes 2
There's a new
somewhere.
Tribes. But,
Nice.
It looks like Tribes.
I mean, we don't have to talk about it now, but some of the most early on epic shooter experiences I ever had were a little jetpack with the disc
Tribes
launcher.
2 was good.
Tribes 2 was great. Yeah.
That was a fun time. Archipelago, you jump and you ski down. Okay.
Just massive
so
environments.
another game. When we talked about Concord last time,
Yeah.
you brought up.
Oh, it reminds me of Brink, because I was like, it sounds
Brink.
to me like to me like that one game we bought one time, and we both were really hyped about it, and then
and I knew
the buggiest game that's ever been created.
Yeah, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yep.
Because we were excited for that, and the art style was cool.
Yeah.
The concept was cool, ahead of its time.
Yep.
Multiplayer only game, and it did not work.
It's just poorly. I mean, literally ahead of its time with the way that today you could probably optimize a netcode a little bit and be with people's bandwidth connections now, or high bandwidth connections. So you could probably make that happen real easy. People know how to do that now.
Yeah, that game, if it came out today, people would be like, oh yeah, this is like a game that would come out now, and then you'd have all sort of customization and microtransactions, and it would be
because I feel
the concept works.
Yeah, it came out in the
game
time when
does.
like Call of Duty was and Battlefield were around, right? But those were like the only. I mean, not the only, but they were the big shooters that were online, like console shooters, and it was a technically difficult thing to do. I think to do that scale online with shooters like that.
And I'd have to pull it up and look at like how many players there were at a time, but
I can do that.
And but Concord, I didn't play, but it worked.
16 players
Okay,
at a time.
not that many.
Not that many. So it was just really poorly optimized code.
It was
ultimately. I mean,
bad.
Yeah.
God, man, it was bad. It was the laggiest game I ever played.
I like how all these mixed or average reviews, apparently 70%. I just don't see how that's possible, because it was unplayable.
I mean, for me, it was.
At least in the first week. Maybe they improved.
I had a pretty good
We took it
internet
back.
connection, too.
Like I took it back to GameStop and was like, you all can have this.
I did too.
It was so bad.
Because it's not in my 360 collection, and I wish it were. Maybe I'm just gonna go buy a copy just for fun.
Well, buy all the copies. Maybe we'll get a sequel.
They should.
Yeah.
That sounds like a game that would be announced for Xbox. Brink 2, and people just be like, "Ooh, was that the choice?"
No.
And there would be a small group of us who are like, "Yes, finally." But back to Concord. From everything I heard, it was a good game.
Yep.
In the sense, it wasn't like great. It wasn't redefining hero shooters or anything, but it was, there was fun to be had. People were enjoying it. It was published by Sony. It was a big game, and it just kind of failed quickly.
Yeah, I'm reading their PlayStation blog announcement about it right now, and it's like, we're listening to your feedback since the launch, and we support the passionate community. However, we're pulling the plug.
So
forever.
I think what they were listening to was that people couldn't find games because there were so few players, and so they couldn't matchmake.
It says we also recognize that other aspects of the game at our initial launch didn't land the way we intended. You mean the wait for a game? It's very PR speak, but it's like,
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems to me like I'm I'm really interested to know now what didn't land as intended. What was the thing that didn't land? What are they blaming it on?
I'd love to know, but I can't play the game.
Yeah. No one can.
No.
So.
Which, you know, I don't want to be an entitled gamer and be like, everything should be available for me all the time. But at the same time, it's like kind of a bummer. Like you said, for the people that made it.
I don't think it's entitled to say that, like, if you paid for a game, you should be able to access it. But
yeah, well, and that's the thing. You have this digital license that they can take back and give you your money back, and then you don't get to play the game.
Well, I mean, that's ultimately the big thing is, like, I'm a person that already will have this has already happened, but like I didn't see this coming and stopped worrying about digital or physical media in everything, games, music, movies, all that stuff. And like at any point in time, this stuff could just disappear if the company that owns the IP just goes, nah, we're not going to put that out there anymore. Yeah. Like it could just disappear. And like there's going to be generations of gamers that their memories are gone forever. Like some of my childhood memory games are, I thought, gone forever, but there's people who are like passionately archiving that stuff. There's a whole project this guy's doing where he has like one download you can do, and it's like terabytes, huge. I think I did it. It was like 2 terabytes, Exodus, and it's like every DOS game ever made, and they're all playable. You can just like select one from a menu, fire it up on a PC, play any DOS game ever. And here's the deal: there might be some like really obscure something that's not there, but it's like every DOS game you can think of, you can find in there. It's there. Yeah, it's really impressive, and he's doing one for like Windows 3.1 games, and he's going through like the history of PC gaming and like archiving all this stuff and releasing it as just big dumps that are like you can play any of this historical stuff. That's going to be really valuable to me at some point in my life, because I'm thinking about it, and like there's all kinds of games that just disappear because like Concord, if you were enthusiastic about that game and you had a great experience for a couple weeks with it, it's gone forever. You'll never get it back.
Yeah, and there's going to be somebody in 20 years talking about that game, like we talked about Brink, and being like, you know what? I saw a lot of potential there, and we had a blast that weekend. We played it. Like people were trying to platinum the game, right? So platinum. We get all the trophies on PlayStation. They were trying to platinum, so they were all just launching themselves off cliffs after every game, so that they could get, I think it's like a certain amount of games won or a certain amount of games played. It is impossible if you did just like end the game as fast as you could. And so, and I don't think I'm making up the number, but 69 people did it. That was nice, but I might be wrong about that number.
Okay,
it's the number that I remember.
Yeah.
It's easy number to remember.
It is.
So, but to be those people and be like, man, remember that weekend where we were just like having a blast in this game that it didn't matter if we were, and maybe it didn't, maybe people were just like grinding it out because they wanted to, but there's something really freeing too about playing a game and knowing like, I don't have to worry about my KD. I don't have to worry about like my level. I'm not grinding for one thing. I'm just like playing it to play it, which I think is really lost in a lot of today's modern multiplayer games. Is like people don't just play the game. Mm-hmm. I went back and played Counter-Strike here a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, man, the game is just so good. It's like I'm not trying, and now you're like unlocking skins and stuff, but you're just like playing. Just, man, it's just so good, just fun to play.
That is.
And you just want to.
100%.
When you're in high school and you just play round after round after round after round after round. You're not leveling up. You're not trying to get.
Can I interject? It's fun to play as long as you're not 40 and playing against teenagers. Because I tried to play recently. It was decidedly not fun getting shot in the face every time I did anything. But
that's fine. I tried to play on Steam Deck once. That was a mistake. With the Steam Deck controls, and then I went mouse keyboard. I did okay.
I'm just not much of a competitive gamer anymore. I don't think I have that competitive edge. There was a time back in the dorms with Counter-Strike 1.6 where
oh my gosh,
where
so good.
The competition was real good competition, but that's 20 years ago, dog. Plus.
Yikes.
Yeah,
I
right.
know, but man, that was good.
Yeah,
And
it
I
was
don't
great.
know if gaming got better than that.
It didn't.
I'm gonna be my old dude.
Telling you,
But
it never
it's
has.
true. Like, tell me, like, okay,
We had PCs had the Counter Strike 1.6, unbelievable, right? And then if you were into consoles at the same time, you were Halo deathmatching, you were
Yeah.
blood gulching.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like there isn't a better golden age of like. I'm sorry.
it was
that's
very
it.
good.
That's it. Yeah.
It was very good.
And like
I mean, you were running a Cat5 cable through your
Sure,
living room
sure.
into your dining room so that you
You were-
could put your
the Wilhelm
Brent's
South
TV
dorm
on.
in Stillwater, Oklahoma, at Oklahoma State had network ports all over the place. So we were land with the whole floor. It was great.
Man, that
It
is
was great.
awesome.
Yeah.
I pulled up a picture yesterday of me playing Halo in my dorm, and my little CRT is like this big, and my buddies and I are like sitting around it, like I'm just like, oh man, that was it.
Those were the days, and you go back a couple years before that. It was Unreal Tournament, Quake 3, where the PC shooter.
But
What's funny is now the kids started calling those boomer shooters.
yeah, those aren't boomer shooters. Well,
Quake
whatever.
is a boomer
Yeah,
shooter.
Quake is.
I mean, Quake is Doom, Quake. Those
Yeah,
are boomer
yeah.
shooters. Quake 3, I guess, is it probably doesn't qualify exactly as a
No,
boomer
any of
shooter.
those
But,
are just going there. Yeah, it's
yeah.
and that it's a topic for another time.
Topic for another time.
But
We're
okay,
getting
so
long in the tooth on that.
Concord, it's too bad.
Sure.
Anytime you see something like that,
You wish a corporation would go, somebody worked on this for a really long time.
and maybe they will. Who knows?
Right.
Maybe they're going back. They're pulling everything back and figuring out a way they can do it. Maybe. I
It's-
hope
it's-
so.
It will ultimately have to be private servers. Somebody else. The servers will not be paid for by Sony or whatever.
But I mean,
it's just not going to happen.
If we wanted to play Brink right now,
Yeah.
we'd have to go set up our 360, grab a couple copies, and then grab 14 other people to play that game.
Yeah.
And that's if we can. And then I take it that it's you host off the Xbox. I don't think they have servers.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
If it was,
I think that's why it
peer-to-peer
ran
or
so
not.
bad.
Yeah. Well, probably exactly why it was so terrible back then.
So-
there was no cloud server to do the. Yeah.
Well, that was Concord. We hardly knew you.
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, I think, as we're running pretty good on time here, we could talk about Star Wars Outlaws, but we haven't played it.
And we haven't played it. Why haven't we played it?
I think I haven't played it because I haven't cared enough. Me being someone who very much enjoyed Star Wars
Probably one of the bigger fans I've known. At one time or another.
at one time,
It's just Star Wars fatigue, man.
it really is.
When we were coming up, there were 3 movies. That's all you got. There were 3 movies and some comic
You
books
watched
and some books.
Yeah, and some books.
Yeah.
And so you got
I mean-
and so you got some video games.
It's the kind of that's the reason we were so excited to go see episode 3 in the theater or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's why we were pumped about those things, because it was scarcity led to us and our enjoyment. And now I stopped watching the Acolyte halfway through, and they canceled it. So now I don't have any reason to finish it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because content on top of content on top of content, and it's just none of it feels like
And
it
so
has impact anymore.
We still like Star Wars.
Yeah, 100%.
We both played Survivor, both loved you 100%.
Jedi Survivor was great. 100%.
I love that game. One of my favorite games of last year, for sure.
If a game is either fun or has a compelling story, more power to it. But
So this game, there's a lot of people playing it.
Yep.
It did not get great media attention as far as reviews go.
I saw some trailers, but that's it.
Well, the reviews weren't great.
Yeah.
There were a lot of bad press on it. A lot of people clicking the
negative.
glitches and stuff. And I really was tempted to pick the game up this week to play that, and I went with Space Marine instead because I was just like, I heard some better rumblings about it. And at some point, I will play Outlaws, but it'll probably be once it drops on like like Game Pass or something, which I think it will, just like Jedi before it. But we'll see. Even though Jedi was a different production company and developer, but I think I'll play it someday. It could be fun, but that's
it. Yeah. Maybe we talk about it next week. Maybe we pick it up and play it.
maybe I just play more Space Marine.
Maybe
I
you
don't
do.
know.
Maybe I play Space Marine. You kind of almost convinced me there with the
I
slideshow and all that stuff. I was kind of like, maybe I should. You told me it made
What-
you have a power fantasy.
number one.
I kind of feel like I should play that game.
So back on that,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't take long.
Mm-hmm.
It's 9 hours if you take your time with it.
Mm-hmm.
For the campaign. Now, yeah, I think there's a possibility you get in, play for a few hours, and be like, not for me. And it's a full price game.
How many years of Warhammer 40K content do I need to consume to enjoy the story? No.
I don't know.
Okay.
The story
stuff I like.
is fine.
Okay.
Without having any backstory. I think if you had, I think what I wish I would have done, I don't know
Okay.
why I didn't do this now, because I usually do this with games,
Mm-hmm.
even if I played the old ones, is I watch the YouTube, like, synopsis of the first game or whatever.
Yeah.
If I haven't played the first one in
So
a
if
while.
I go YouTube up some Space Marine Uno,
I think that would
I'll feel better about.
improve your enjoyment of the game,
do that.
because you'll know the character. Because I don't know why I would. It's number 2. I don't know why I wouldn't expect
Yeah.
for them to be talking about stuff that I didn't understand. But I didn't fault it for it at all. I was just like, yeah, I should have played the first one. It was like,
Well, you had fun with it. So
like at
that's
the end, when this thing happens, I was just laughing. I was like, I bet that made some people like, whoa. But not me. I just laughed. But there's some good stuff. There is a cohesive story. There is, I think it's good enough.
Cool.
It's good enough to drive you forward to your next thing. I always knew what I was doing. I always knew the goal. It's very mission oriented because it's co-op centric, so you kind of have to go to your hub and then relaunch again. So then you're sitting there and it tells you what you're going to do, which I always read because it was like, if you're not paying attention and like thinking about everything and watching everything, then yeah, it's easy to be like, okay, well, I don't know what words those were because those were Warhammer lore things. I don't know what
Right.
that is. But I think I don't know anything about it. I enjoyed the story to a point where I was like, okay, yeah, I know what's going on, and there's a real stake.
Listen, if I like it enough, I might become a Warhammer person because honestly, they make Total War games too, and I'm a Total War fan.
I know you are.
And
There's another really good game that came out, and I dabbled in it.
Okay.
But it's the Warhammer game that came out that I can't remember the name of. Darktide.
Okay.
Warhammer 40K. Darktide. And I want to go back and play that game now.
Yep.
And the world, I don't know if we need to go through this all right now again, but the world is not really my like shade of sci-fi fantasy. But I think you'd like it. I think you should check it out.
I'll check it.
Maybe I'll play Star Wars this week, but probably not.
Sweet.
Well, thank you,
Hey, anytime,
Josh. I had fun.
Yeah, this is a good
I
time.
hope we got audio this time.
I can see the thing moving. We're good.
So let's do it again next week,
Yeah.
and we might have some new stuff to talk about.
All right, cool. All right, see ya.